Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Today we are going to do the chapter of social science and highlighting each and every point of it. Let's see what is our topic today. Social science, the introductions of social science display here. There is a most important chapter here. A first point of social science as on academic discipline. There is some important here. The social science as a academic discipline here, as the name itself suggests, social science is concerned about the society. The social science is concerned about the society. Its aim to be understand all the aspects of society as well as a finding solution to the deal with the social problem. It is a broader area of knowledge and include a several different disciplines here under their domain. The main one that you need for now at this stage are here: history and archaeology, geography and political science, sociology, economics. The various models is a unit of this course. Social science as a connected with this every subject. Social science connected with the every subject. In the unit will as we try to be understand this brand of social science, especially of history. Social science is especially deal with the history. We will be understand the importance of study social science and how closely it is related to our lives. We will see how our human beings we ever go through the several stages to involve from to when to the living is a cap there today as modern but with cities. Will we read about the history and not as simply as set of fact about our past but also learn from them. Social science help us to be acquire and capacity to make a interconnection between two various subjects. We will learn as draw linkage of between two event and processes of development across the time. And this will be help us the draw of connection between to our past, present and future. There is study here of past, present and future. Let us study more about the subject and understand the impact of our lives. There is important here. The next point here is study of social science. Let us study of social science here. Academic disciplines are a field of study, is a branch of knowledge that is a tough, is a various level of education and research or university level. Any field of study has a several sub-discipline is a branches. This may be at a time overlap or some important branches are sub-discipline of social science are economics, history and archaeology, geography, political science and sociology. There is the most important here. The some important branch of a sub-discipline here are social science are economic, history, archaeology, geography, political science and sociology. This is a branch of social science. There is important here. You would be surprised to know that is the beginning. There was only a discipline is the philosophy. Philosophy is mean to love for the wisdom of knowledge. Philosophy here, a love for the wisdoms of knowledge, and that why is even now their highest degree in any subject. He has a PhD. PhD means he is doctorate of philosophy, and the level of his knowledge has started increasing and expanding. A need was felt to the classify knowledge into different disciplines here. Science and social science come to be differentiated. The both refer to different aspects of our related. Environmental science deal with the knowledge regarding to natural and physical world. Social science, on the other hand, deal with the knowledge concerned with all aspects of society and human being himself. And let us begin to with the history. This is the most important here, history. The history and archaeology, there is the most important here, history and archaeology. What is a history? First of all, question in your mind, what is a history? The history is on account of events that have happened in the past. That is important. What is a history? History is account of event that has happened in a past. This is a history. The history about the real people and the real things. The history here, real people and real things. It does not be deal with the mere idea and the ideals of the what should be has been. On the other hand, it is a study of what has been. History does not be deal with the individual alone. History does not be deal with the individual alone here. It is a concern with the nation and society. There is a history does not be deal with the individual alone. There is the a concern with the nations and societies. It is not a limit to be king and queen, but all human beings. There is a no limited to here the king and queen here, but all human beings here. It include all man, woman, rich, poor, irrespective of their background in term of or religion, caste. Religions, caste, etc. are very important. Have you ever wondered how and what happened to our ancestors? Is ascent time. You will be learn about them in this book. Well, the going through this is a course. Note down all the event which even are interesting to you. Go to the libraries and search the internet to see you can get more information on them. We will be also help you will be research for more knowledge. There is history. History is the most important. There is only history here, a past study. There are histories belong to the past history. There is a not a limit of the king and queen. There is a not a law. There is a nation and study of society here. Next year, your mind, the first question arrive here, why do we study of history? Why do we study of history here? The study of history help us to our uh, roots, strength and achievement, give us a sense of pride as well as a direction. You know that? You understand? Why do we study of history? The history study help us to be now our root, strength, achievement and give us a sense of pride as well as direction. And what we call a progress would be non-existent if we do not have a proper knowledge and understanding of our past. There is understanding of our past and knowledge. There is generally belief that history deal with the only past, which we think is dead. There is a deal with the past and which we think is dead. In a relative, our past has an important lesson for present and future. Our past important lesson of your present and future. History record is a legacy that has an important wearing our lives. In a sense, is a history related to the story of cooperative action of large number of men and women in their quest for a better life. When we think of how we can now about our past, we get connected to the archaeology. There is a we connected to the archaeology, and often this past activity and their achievement wearing is a sense of pride. Let us keep them safe for our future generation. The next archaeology is the study of ancient time. Archaeology is the study of ancient time with respect to society and culture. The trace of this event can be found in the material is remind there are artifact, burials, buildings, is momentous, etc. And the study of the archaeologist. The study by archaeologist here, the archaeology is the study by the archaeologist and they interpret them to provide a knowledge about the time to which this is a artifact belong. The study of archaeology is also include the written record that are very ancient and cannot be easily displayed understood. This source give a more reliable and authentic information here. Most of the time, such a trace and found varied, understand, and have to be a ducks out. This is called archaeological excavations. The archaeological is a excavation is a Monojodharo, Harappa, and Lananda. At some well now is a site where is the excavations has been undertaken and variable material found. Such equations as often carry out the reported in their newspaper. A very interesting recent discovery in that a remain of city found under to sea near Gujarat. It is believed to be Hindu god Krishna as a city of Dwarka. The Krishna is Hindu god. There is a belief there is a Dwarka, and is a Rakhi. Ghara is a Haryana. Is another very recent is excavation site here. A trip to such a site will be transferred you back to this time. You must be visit such a site whenever you get an opportunity, and also find out more about such site other country too. Archaeology sources also include inscriptions, pillar, metal plate is also important, and also is a coin, seal, is momentums, tools, poetry, toys, picture, etc. There is the most important here. Archaeology sources also include inscriptions, pillar, metal plate, coins, seals, mementos, tools, poetries, the potteries, and the tools and toys and the picture. The work of art are paintings, sculptures, is sculptures, etc. Architectures is the most important. Let about their culture of particular period. Look around your cities or town for a museum. Visit somebody as a house which has a collection of some this item. Make a list and then try to find out of the which period is the belong to. For this, you can search on the internet or visit to library to know more about them. Today, a lot of information can be got from a books, magazine, and newspaper. The next here, geography. Geography is most important according to social science here. The study of archaeology and history remain are incomplete without or now as something about the geography of the area began a study. There is an important point here. The history and archaeology is remain incomplete without a knowledge of geography on this area. Geography is the study of the earth, landscape, people, place, environment. There is an include of social science here. Landscape, people, place, environment. There is a part of geography but related of a social science. In a simple term, it is now about their world in which we live. Geography is unique and bearings to be social science. There is human geography with the natural science is a physical geography. There is a social science means is a human geography, and natural science means physical geography. Geography play an important role in us shaping the life and history of any society. Geography play an important role in us shaping the life and history of any society. It helps us to recognize their difference in a culture, political system, economics, landscape, and environment across the world. It also helps us to establish link among them. Geography provides as an idea framework for a relating to the other field of knowledge too. If we know the geography of a country, we can understand what happened in a history. There is a if we know the geography of a country, we can understand what happened in history. In this lesson, you will be read that is the earlier human is made a ball. The early human is made a ball around their other a small tool. It is a from a studying the geography that you get now why. After ice age, change in the environment must have taken place. As a result, many dense forests might has become a grassland. Can you imagine what must be have happened? Yes, it will lead to growth of population of a grass-eating animal like a deer, goat, sheep, and antelope. There is the most important here. You also know that this animal can run fast, so hunting them not be easy with a heavy weapon. This light stone is a weapon, the stone weapon, which early human had invited helped them into their survive. Do you know that the Indo-Ganga plain is the most fertile land in India? Indo-Ganga plain is the most fertile land in India. This is because a big river like a Ganga bearings on abundant supply of fresh water, drinking and irrigation. That is why this land is become the place for a establishing big empire like those of Mauryas, Gupta and Mughal. There is the most important here, Maurya, Gupta and Mughal. Ability of iron in the abundance further helped to the expansion of this empire. Can you guess why? You will be learn about more about the four lesson. There is a four lessons the most important for their ability of iron abounded to further help expansion to the empire. Next point here, political science. Political science is the most important in a social science. Government is a word which may be familiar. You often to hear and read about there in the newspaper or in the television. Have you ever thought about that is government is? Do you know that the role it plays in our lives and important things it does for the people? The government of country make a law and everyone living in the country has to be obeyed. This is a law. In a democracy, it is the people who give up power to the government when they elect them. In this way, people help to the parliament of country make a law. There is a people help to the parliament of country to make a law. Well, there is a monarchy. There is a monarch is the king of queen who had a power to make a decisions and enforce them. There is an important here. Monarchy is the monarch is the king and queen. There is a power to take a decision and enforce them. Social science also deal with the how we are governed, and it has helped to understand the role of people like us in the running of nation and government. This discipline is called political science. There is a political science. The next here, sociology. Sociology, there according to social science, what is the role of sociology? Sociology means is a society, social. The sociology is yet another very important part of social science. Sociology yet is another very important part of social science. It is a study of human behavior in a social context. There is a human behavior in a social context. Sociology is a focus on the study of human groups. Sociology comes from the Latin word sociology. Its literally mean to be study of companions and sociology seek to understand the structure of society and how it works. It is also seek to define and understand the different factor has been shaped our society. And this include a race, class, gender, culture, religions, belief of system and government. Sociology also studies that way of individual and group behavior impact on the running of our society. There is a most important sociology in the role important of social science. The next year, economics. Economics here regarding the social science. There is a role of economics in social science. Living in a society also means that we must know how to organize our lives. We must know how to be incomings our income. Incomings of our income, time, resource, because all them are the limited. You must also learn to organize your time in such a way so that you can manage to do things you want. Similarly, when we make a budget from our home, we make the best use of source which are available to us. We can avoid many of problem in this way. We call this study of economics. We call this a study of economics. It's most more than making a budget. The more than there is a making of budget. It is the scientific study of the way in which the human make a choose about the production, consumptions and wealth. There are three of way: production, consumptions and wealth. This become a very important when we are the faced with the limited means. It is a social science studying balance between need and available of source. Study this object will be a more interesting if you apply the learning to be a real life of situation. One such activities could be make your household budget or a timetable. That is important. All this subject help us to understand how to ensure process of human process and development take place. For this, let us go back into our past. Step by step, we will be get to know about there is evolution of human beings on the earth. Do you know that we study about the revolutions, their evolution and the science too? But over there is a learn how to evolution to take place in a nature, how plant and animal involved. It is an interesting story how to most highly developed of a species. The human beings is developed from a less involved animals. Do you know that is a biological name of our species, human beings? You know, that's a Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens is the name of scientific of human beings. There is a biological name here, Homo sapiens. We are going to read about this Homo sapiens in the next section. The next important topic here, evolution of human beings. There is a very interesting topic here, evolution of human beings. The first human-like beings are believed to have to emerge about 2 million years ago. There is a most important period time here. The first human-like beings to be believed to be have emerged about 2 million years ago. They are resembled is apes. There is a resembled is a apes. The biologist is called them the Homo sapiens. The biologist is called Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens mean a wish human beings in a Latin. That it now is a how to be cultivate is a land to grow a food. Nor do there is a now how to be build a house for a shelter. They lived in the caves or tree tops. Do you know that human beings had started living on the earth much earlier than they learned to be right? The invention of the written was an important landmark. As the written records become a main source of our knowledge of past. Do you know what is not a recorded is written is called prehistory. There is recording the written is called prehistory. You will be surprised to know that a period of prehistory is much longer than the recorded time, which we term as a history. There is important here. So to reconstruct their life of prehistorics is a human and historians and anthropologist is a study tool, weapon, argument and cave dwellings and the cave painting made by a center. History refer to that period of human beings for which written record are available. Such written are found on the rock, pillar, copper plate and more recently paper. That is the most important source written there a prehistory. There is rock, pillar, copper plate and more recently paper here. The next year, nomadic life. Nomadic life means the stone age. Stone age there is an important. The primitive human beings were nomads. They keep moving from one place to another in a search for food from the environment. They move in a group to be ensure safety from a wild animal. There is a move in a group to be ensure safety from a wild animal for a social security and from a companionship. They also started to making tool with the stone. So we call their period is in the human evolution as the stone S. That is called a period of human evolution as a stone S. In each stage, human beings used stone as an implement which were better than the earlier one. This helped is them to be progressed to be a better and safer life. It has a flowing main stage. Let's see the study of the different type of stage here. The first here, the old stone age mean is a paleolithic age is a 5 lakh BC to the 10,000 BC. There is a most important period time here is Pathetics as here the Old Stone Age. During the Old Stone Age, Pathetic Age, the human beings live in a foothill of the mountain variables near a river. River provide them into the drinking and water well is a food in from a animal that come there to be quench they are thirsty. They could be found to catch from a shelter on the foothill. So there is a basic need of food, water and shelter. Very certified easily at such a spot. Do you know that is the early human has to be pushed out of wild animal, especially their gant bear, from a cave in order to make a home for himself. Just imagine how difficult and dangerous life of Promit people lived. There is a imagine here. The cover and protect there is a body from a heat and cold. And this promoted human is a war is a word from the tree and the skin of animal, which they dry under to the sun. You must be appreciate the role of environment play a is sustaining your human beings even today. There are some places in India like there are Andaman and Nicobar Island where container travels like live like their early human every today. Even today, there is the most important here. Andaman Nicobar Island where is contained tribal lives like their early human even today. Early human is a live in a cave and made to painting, depicting hunting scenes on the wall of the cave. The painting of animals chase, especially a big animal like a bison and the reindeer, and can still even to the Mimeketa cave is a Madhya Pradesh. It is a quite possible that is a practice of drawing on the wall was some kind of tutorial that is ensured that there would be a successful in there is a hunting expedition. It is also possible that it was a create expressions to make their surrounding beautiful by making on a artistic expression of their hunts. That is important. Here show the most important painting Bhime Bekta is cap painting. There is a most important painting here. There is a show the a hunting of animal. There is a most important picture on your screen. The pathetics human also developed contain a practice which we think must be there is a religious belief. They worshipped there is a center after their death and buried them with the tools and established a comfortable journey to the next world. There is a fear to the natural phenomenon like a lightning and thunder. They could be not understand fact like the rising and setting of the sun. But then now that when to arose in the east, it will give the heat as a during the daytime. Whereas the a moon gives space and coolness at their night. To them it is some things is a supernatural because they could not be understanding their case, so there is a worship the sun and moon and thunder and lightning. There is the most important the worship here sun, moon, thunder and lightning. However, there is a wish to the enough not to be a destroyer natural and it's a balance. They took from a natural only such a as there is a needed and the perfect to believe a harmonious with it. Do not you think that there would be the world would be a nice place to live in if people follow that is earlier human did. The old stone as was a fallen there a middle stone as are the pathetic as and the neolithic end. Neolithic end there is the most important here. The next year, the middle stone age. The middle stone age there is a Mesothelithic age means 10,000 BC so 8,000 BC. There is the most important period time here. Let us see how to the human being during the Mesothelithic age discover the use of fire. There is the most important discovery on this period time. It is quite possible that when the two pieces of the planet stone were stuck together, they produce a spark and this spark may be having fallen on some dry leaves and cause a fire. This could be, however, frightened or surprised their early humans. The intelligent humans is learned to use this discovery to their advantage. They found that a fire frightened there is an animal and so could we provide them safety if kept a burning near a cab. It is also provided to light during to the night. Even the food becomes softer and tastier that are cooked on fire. If also warming up to the cold cab by the providing a heat. Even today, people warm themselves sitting near a fire on cold winter night. And this must has been a really a great event in the life of early human. Can you imagine how to progress of early human from living on the treetops to be discovered of fire took place? It could not be have happened overnight. Absolutely, that is a took us several thousand years. Now wonder that is a fire become object of wonder as well as a worship. Just like a fire use of tool was another important discovery for the early human. The tools found in this period were called macrolithics. Macrolithics are important and they were sharper and more effective. Bone of animal were also used to make a tool and weapon like bullets and scalpels, arrows, hooks and arrowhead and hammer. They made a hammer and chopper and the hand axes with the which they cut down a small tree. They use it as a kill animal for a food or build a small hut to themselves. They chop out a smaller stone to make them as sharp as a knife. By attaching them to walls and spear, they made these tools is more effective. Now they were able to hunt animal from a shape or distance. And some of this stone implement have been to the found in Punjab, Kashmir Valley, in the foothills of the Himalayas and the Narmada Valley, among other places. If you can visit the library and refer to some books or search the internet, you will be able to look at some other site where these tools can be found across the world. Let's study of tools on your picture. Here show the mathematics is a weapon. There is a most important weapon here on your screen. There is a knife, there are different types of stone, there is shape of axis and other. There is a most important show in your screen of weapon for a human. The next year, the new stone is mean Nathalix as is a 8000 BC to the 4000 BC. There is a most important period of time here. In the beginning, human beings were a mere hunter and food gatherer. It took them to be hundred of thousands of years before they could be become a food producer. And this was the beginning of the Nathalix age. Humans could grow their own food and they no longer depending on the is the uncertainty of hunting or searching and gathering is more food. How do you think it has happened? How do you think this happened? It's a quite possible like the discovery of fire. This could be also has been an accident. There is the discovery of fire. This could be also have been an accident. Maybe some seeds fell on the ground and plants come out. This plant soon become a regular supply of food and they start to sowing their seeds and harvesting them. Now they had to took after the plants, they had to be swivel. And this was because there was a gap of let us a 6 month between sowing and there is a harvesting of grain. There is important. This was a beginning of agriculture. This was a beginning of agriculture. It lead to be a shuttle life for a human. Now they had to regular source of abundant food. And they also had a better chance of survive as they no longer had to go hunting for a food. Agriculture is a both many advantages and change in the lives of human beings. They built is a hut there is himself, which were probably is protected by a wall. And the field lay outside their wall. Now they had a regular place to live, which soon took their village, and this village is consisted of many families which provide to protection to each other. Around the same time, the early humans realized that they could be keep some animal with them, and this was possible because of agriculture. Now they keep a grain for the themselves, and the hog was a keep from animals. They had learned to domesticate an animal. Do you know that is a dog was the first animal to be domesticated? Later, early humans started keeping goat, cattle, sheep for various use, especially for a meat and milk. They used a bulls and skin from animal for a clothing, and this was the beginning of mixed farming. The agriculture provide to plant food while their domesticated animal give a meat, milk, and also wool. The early humans has been to plants as coming out of seed and giving food like their mother, who is a feed us sustain their life of their children. And they started to worshipping earth as a symbol of mother. Naturally, as human beings, as they continue to remain is evil, there is a force of nature like a pathetic as of people. Gradually, as the knowledge of their environment increasing, as desire for a comfortable life also developed. The early human realized that was important to have a better tools and implements. So they made them a sharper. The axis was used for the cutting and the felling of tree. It was made of hard stone, chipped and ground to be added. After which it was nailed to be a wooden stick. Similarly, a sickles was used for harvesting the grain, and this tool were also is a polish to make them last longer. And this polish tool helped them to clear the land for agriculture and cutting for their gathering crop. Do you know that such a tools are used for gardening and the farming by a small farmer every today? Another important discovery of the period was the wheel. Today, nobody is could we have to believe that in a memorable way it could be effective to change a human life. Wheel was used for drawing water from the well in the form of pulley. For a spanning of harded they are making a cloth in form of spanning wheels or the charka. Charka to the make of poetry in there is a form of potter wheels. The invention of the potter as wheels helped them to be make a cooked food. The pot were made with the twigs as a basket, which were plastered is with clay. And this pot were a different size, had a beautiful pattern on the outside. The greatest use of wheels was is a cart of transportation. And then labor to human beings to carry themselves and their good from one place to another. Even today, the wheels is used for many important activities here. Here show the picture. There is a most important pneumatic as potter. You know that there is a pottery. There is a most important here. The next here use of metal is a calothatics as. There is a most important as here. Calothatics as. Human had come long way from their food gathering and stone implement days. Let there were not certified. Soon they discover a metal is called copper. And this period is now come to be called calothatics as. In this age, a people began to use a copper making implements. Do you remember reading that is order to make a clay pottery is a clear human use of fire. It is used to till today in the form of furnaces is a copper was a first metal to be melted by heat in order to make implements. Here show the metal weapon. This metal weapon is the most important for the hunting. You know that there is skill is the most important on this period time. The copper here, a weapon, there is a very sharp and very important for the hunting of animals. As the early humans started discovering new materials, they started to experimenting with them. Copper was a mix with the other metal like zinc, tin, and lead to be produce a bronze. The age in which the people started to using a bronze come to be called bronze age. The tool made of metal proved to be a much more effective than to early stone implements. The metallic is a naps and the axe is a helpful in cutting down to tree and more land be a clear for agriculture. The period went to the human use of both metal and a small piece of stone is called Calothetic age. Implement this age of has been to found to the Brahmagiri in Mysore and Navastal is near a Narmada river as well as the Chota Nagpur plateaus. If you happen to be anywhere near this area, try to see the excavated site and make a note. There is the most important activity here and compare this information with any other site which you might have seen or read. The next year, beginning of community of life. Beginning of community of life, agriculture, mixed farming, development of tool and discover of wheels is all lead to be a shuttle life which we may be a call to the beginning of village life. By now the group of human beings that had settled together had become a larger and a large group of needed to someone who could maintain a law, order and some discipline here. So it was a natural that is a those one such a person amongst themselves there is a who could be lead them. The various group are decided their own method of choosing to the leader. The leader was a more often to oldest person in the group and sometimes it could be a stronger person in the community. The leader is looking after the law and order of settlement. If you discharge or use between is any two member of group, the leader would be act as the mediator. Gradually, this settlement become even larger. Town and city started to coming up. Do you know that is an area around to the river Saraswati and Indo where is a place where the first Indian site come up around 2500 BC. It was the Indo Valley civilization. The Indo Valley civilization is called Indo Saraswati civilization by some historians after the discovery of site in Harappa. The next year, religion. Human beings all over to the world have a fear of unknown. Any event which was not understood by them was held in a way and the soon become scared. The same has happened with the early human. The earth is assumed their status of mother figure, which provide food for all living beings. Yeah, children. The sun is a give a life and warmth. It was also a resourcing is after the dark night. It was the same for a moon, star, and rain, etc. People started to worship them, and they started to the sacrificial rite, and their rank soon is a fragile thing, a natural object. There was a magic is a platinary who is claiming they could be a prevent a people from a coming to be harmed by them, and some individuals are decided to perform sacrificial rites and the pray for a community. Such a person come to be now a priest. That is important. The people had realized that his death was a journey from which people is a never a return. So they began to follow their practice of making graves for avoiding their dead. And they covered the graves with a large stone called the megalithics and sometimes various articles of everyday use were also placed, keeping in mind the requirement of dead on their last journey. Does it strike you that is a reverse for the departing as well is a practice even today? In fact, you will be surprised to see how many things we have a common with our center. That is important. The next year, iron age as we went. Iron age is the most important as we have learned human culture and civilization was undergoes to several phase of the development. The early human beings were started to making a tool with the stone. Later human beings is a discovered to metal which provide to the more useful for making a tool. The copper, bronze and the iron were discovered in their very is a chronological order. That is important. The discovery of iron is a very important landmark in human civilization. It's a help to making a tool that were more lasting and durable. Later other materials come to be used. People learn to make alloys. The alloys is very important, a mix to the one and another element to the each other, which are made up to two or more metals of fixed ratio. That is called alloys. Brass is an example of alloys. Brass is an example of alloys. The alloys is a mix of two or more metal for each other. Then we learn how to make a steel and adding to carbon to iron. And much later, a modern science give us a very useful material called plastic. The plastic is a still used for making all kind of tool and the object of everyday use. It has a many advantages over to materials. However, letting it is has been to found to have a negative impact on our environment and therefore use to begin restricted. I am sure you have heard about their ban of plastic bag. The scientists are now trying to discover a biodegradable plastic. Biodegradable plastic is the most important. So you must realize that is every as of human development present is often set of challenges. And these have to be addressed as a human as involved the next stage. Let us now study the very stage of human development. The next year, different stages of human development. That is the most important. Different stages of human development. Now, based on the above narratives, we can trace the development of human civilization in a different stages that are common for a people all over the world in all the countries. We will also find their content or discoveries from the past are still relevant today. The use of will. There is a use of will. The first stage here coming again hunting stage. Hunting stage is the most important. Many of clues that has been to proved to be say by their archaeologists is have helped to be reconstruction of our prehistory. And this type of life was called to the primitives because people are dependent on the nature for their livelihood. And this earlier human beings began to live as a hunter and preying upon the beast, birds, fish, and insects for a food. And just as a wild animal in the jungle do. They lived only on a hunter to be hundreds of thousands of years. And this stage is a history was called the Stone Age. And this period was also marked by the tendings of domesticated animal. This give of people is assured of food supply and also some new food item like a milk, butter, cheese. There is the most important food items here. Milk, butter, cheese. For the people, live was a much more secure and now that is has been today is were hunters. Besides the tending of animals was a much lighter work than hunting. People had a issue users to think about there as a matter. The people had users to be a things about their matter, but they still had to live like a nomads moving from one place to another in a search of food. They had took a look for a new posture from their cattle when to preview ones because of varied eatings by the animal. This is important. Their research for the food to one place to another, the nomads is moving here. The next year important village life means rural here. With the advent of agriculture comes opportunity for their settled lives. People is discovered that this could be show the seed in the soil and make them grow into plants. This technique is embedded them to be grow their own food at one place. Now there could have a permanent settlement which later took a shape of village where a civilization, in the modern sense, was born, and this can also be termed as the rural stasia. The next year, town life means urban. Urban, there is talking for today times here. From a rural life in the village and agriculture, human beings is moved to about to the urbanization. At this stage, there was a immense is a growth in their population. Human beings were no longer food gatherer. They were now food is a producer. The groups of families become large and societies were formed. Now there was no need for every family to be work in the field and produce their own food. And those who were is weaver, poacher and carpenter exchanging there is a product for food. There was a great improvement in their lives. Discovery of metal has led to be specialization in the preparing craft. Some artisans has a better skill than the other did. This lead to be societies as a certification into skilled and the semi-skilled is a craft man depending on the skill by their possessed. By this time, metal like a copper and bronze has been discovered. This varies began used in producing articles in a stimuli for the comfortable life. Human beings use this. The skills in making a craft like a poetry, leather work, and the menswear. There is an important work today here. People would be gathered together at the convention place to exchange their product. Even the farmer would come to be sell their surplus and grains and buy other necessity. There is a necessity is important there, and these activities happen at the center place. At this stage of civilization, people look for a more than just a satisfying. There is a need for a food and engage in other activities such as the weaving, poetry, and metal work. That is the most important part here: weaving, poetry, and metal work. It was also the stage when the iron was began to discover. Now there arose to the need for a structural and characterization into smaller and specialized groups here. Division of labor took place on the basis of the work performed by them. Humans were now ready to be moved to next stage of their extension and the development. The invention of writing was a great step forward, and knowledge could now to be passed forward from one generation to another. The written was also need for a keeping recorded by the traders as also by people who were looking after law and order in village, town, and cities. That is the most important. Here show the Harappan inscription. There is the most important here. There are first here is coin, second here is bull, but different here. But other inscription is the most important. But this time, so no understanding this inscription. There is the most important, but not understanding for others is important here. The next here, city life. City life is also important. Later, people started going to the surplus, gain and storing if for their future, and this resulting in a lot of losers' time, and which lead to be progress of the civilization and culture. Arts like a painting, music, and sculptures and their architectures are development. More is a decorative craft like a metal work and the metal work and the ornament is a making we are introducing. Now that the people had a security and there is a basic need were fulfilled, and there could be caters to be there is a higher social and aesthetic needs. It was also the beginning of the concept of caste and class. For a town development more advanced and urbanized cities, the earliest cities to be discovered were to Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and which are now in Pakistan. In India, some important site for these cities were is the Ropars near Chandigarh, at the Lothals near the Ahmedabad, and the third is a Kalubanga in Rajasthan. There is the most important side here. Ropar near Chandigarh, Lothal is near Allahabad, and third here Kalubanga is Rajasthan. These cities were well planned and had all facilities that were available at this time, such as a road that cut each other at a right angle and drainage system and use of burnt bricks. There is the most important burnt brick here. This is the most important show here runs up Indo civilization of Lothal, Gujarat. There is the most important here structure. There is the advance and technology show in this your figure on screen. There is the most important part here on a civilization of Indo civilization. With the advancement in the science and technology, progress in the metal of sphere was the accelerated is a manifold. Life become more comfortable and later is luxuries. At least for the some people, some cities is again too important too. Some of them come to be called metropolitans in cities which is of we find high rise of buildings, important office, and big business is a house as factories. Life has a change from to the better for some of use. We have made to the many discoveries, invention and innovations to make our lives and not only comfortable but also is meaningful. But there are many of you who do not have the access to be clean drinking water, electricity and basic facility like education and health. This is a turn has as a created many problems for which we have to find solution. We shall be read more about them in this lesson. The next topic is important here social science and problem of present day society. There's an important topic here social science and problem of present day society. It has been a long journey from the time when we are a hunter to forest to be a modern time. When we expose our other planet and the send out of satellite into outer space. Information can be now be stored and communicated with the help of the computer and robots. We have stepped into the age of information and communication technology. The city has given way to be a metropolis, but we are still changing, developing, evolving, and progressing. That is important here. There are still is a still changing, developing, evolving, and progressing. You may be happy now to understand how humans have then evolved from to hunting and food gathering storage for the present day modern society. It has been a very long journey. There is a very long journey here. With the many new discoveries and challenges are opportunity. There is a new discoveries, challenges and opportunities here. The relationship of human with the self, society and of nature should be inspired us to be create a society in which all of you rather than only a few could be lead a gainful life. There is a most important here, a discovery, challenge and opportunities here. Even though we have made a good progress, we still need to be overcome our several challenges. You will be read about there are many of these issues in models and unity that is the follow in this course. We will go through them to see a possible situation and solution. We can be form of following. There is a most important solution here given. The first year poverty and hunger. Second year is the equitable distribution of wealth. And third year unemployment and underemployment. And the next year parallel economic and the next year tax invention and black money. There is a parallel economics and tax invention and black money is a D part. And the next year corruption in a public life. And the next year population and environmental degradation. And the next year lack of nationalism and love for a country. And next year gender based a problem like a discrimination against the human and the criminal against the human and dowry system, infanticides, pesticides and human trafficking of postulations and next year violence is a terrorism and nationalism.